Welcome everybody. This is going to be a session that is be speaking about how we are growing and scaling the partners that you're working within the public sector. So thank you for attending this session. My name is Emanuel Higwall. I'm based out of Luxembourg in EMEA, working for the US programs teams here in Washington. So thank you very much for attending. We are going to present our panel today. And I'm going to let each and everyone introduce themselves and speak a little bit about the background, your company, the functions you're doing to the audience. Thank you. Okay. Starting off with David, I will say.
All right. Very good. My name is David Blankenhorn. I am the Chief Technology Officer for DLT Solutions. We've been an Amazon partner since 2011. And DLT, our whole focus is around accelerating public sector growth for technology companies. So we were a very early adopter of AWS for the public sector, where we are exclusively focused. And we're excited to be here today to kind of share some of the things that we've learned over the years and how to enable all of you to further your relationship with Amazon and within the partnership programs that exist. So great to be here.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm TC Ratnapuri, CEO and President of Enquisite Inc. We are a 15-year-old company primarily focused on cloud migrations and app modernizations. We were definitely one of the lucky ones to start one of the pioneer AWS systems. In 2010, the Common Application System was one of the very first system, a large-scale system that went on AWS. And we had an $8 million budget, and healthcare.gov was on the same platform, crashing and burning, but we launched smooth, so we've been proud, and the exciting journey has never slowed down. Mm-hmm. And I know we're just getting started, so truly excited.
I'm Craig Atkinson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of JEC Technology. We're a premier consulting partner. We've been started the company in 2010. I've worked with AWS and been really all in on the cloud and innovative technology since we started. Our main tenet was to look to bring solutions around innovative technology or disruptive technology to government and business to help solve business problems as opposed to being overwhelmed by them. So we've been a partner with AWS for quite a few years, and happy to be here today.
I'm Robert Groat. I'm the EVP of Technology and Strategy at Smartronix. Smartronix has been a company for about 22 years, primarily serving the DoD and federal markets, but we also have a commercial practice, primarily thanks to AWS. We've been working really with AWS and the federal government since 2009, one of the pioneer partners in delivering services running on AWS way back when it was challenging to do a lot of these things to meet the federal mandates to do that. But since then, we've really been able to grow. I think we have over 200 people now that are certified on AWS. It's a significant part of Smartronix's entire business. And there's really different ways to kind of attack this market. And I look forward to talking to you guys about that and how we've really helped our customers go through that journey, that digital transformation journey that's really important. And that's really what the partner ecosystem is for.
Yeah. Thank you. If you look at the journey that we have and the skills and experience that you have been developing and the capabilities that we've been investing in during the time to help the customer move their workloads to AWS, if you could take us back a little bit from your early days, a little bit how your journey to the partnership started, describe where the issues were, how you saw the programs, how the programs kind of helped you to develop your skills and capabilities. Starting up from the beginning, taking us today.
Okay, do you want me to go ahead and start then?
Sure, Robert, thank you.
So in 2009, when we started working with AWS, there wasn't a WWPS, there wasn't a public sector part of the business. And then when Teresa came on, I believe it was probably January of 2010, yeah. She really had to grow the business. But we all, as partners, we've all been working with AWS for a long time. We grew with that group that was building out this amazing practice that now has 15,000 attendees. I think the first one that we did, there was maybe 50 of us in the room.
It was intimate.
What's that?
Very intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what's really important is to really understand how to navigate the various programs that AWS has to offer. Programs where if you can go in and go do the co-sell motion with the AWS sales guys, you really get an opportunity to work directly with AWS. It's a unique company in how you actually sell with them. And they're real interested. You hear AWS talk all the time about customer obsession. To be a partner of AWS, you have to have that same obsession. You have to really look at what are the business outcomes that you're trying to achieve for your customer and work through how some of those programs can actually help you there. They've got funding for helping with mass acceleration. They've got funding for helping with looking through your cloud adoption. They allow you to do well-architected reviews with your customers to make sure you're on the right path. Really being able to understand how to navigate those programs, I think, is key. And what we've done as partners is, I hope you'll see that we've influenced AWS to have these systems and capabilities in place. And that's really helped us grow as well. The training is another area. They want to make sure that you're successful with your customer and that you know how to do things in a cloud-native manner. They don't want you to look at what you're doing in your on-premise data center and repeating that same model in the cloud offering. So working with AWS and working through those programs, it's really helped us think through how do we do things like AWS builds and deploys services and doing that for our customer.
So I think from our perspective, we've been alongside the Smartronics and DLT, a lot of these companies since the beginning. And one of the things that probably a lot of you guys who have not worked with AWS or been in the federal spaces for a long time is how much more mature and feature-rich and capable the environment is today compared to what it was 9 years ago. And it's really become, reach a level of maturity where you're able to do things, you have many choices of how you solve compliance issues or how you deploy your architectures and how that and how you work with the federal government and making sure that they understand exactly what the requirements are and really translate that into something in the cloud, into something that they can understand. 8 years ago, it was like speaking a completely different language, and you were very limited on the partner ecosystem as far as who had products that were built that would work with AWS. And the feature set that AWS had was much smaller. Obviously, you've seen the trend of the number of capabilities and products that AWS has today compared to what it had years ago. But with that, there's also been a massive growth in the public sector team. So we really relied early on the AWS public sector sales team when it was a much smaller entity to help drive our sales. Today, if you're a new company coming in, it's such a massive ecosystem that you really have to be much more targeted in what you do and where you bring value as an organization and understand who you can align yourself within the organization to really provide value to AWS and to your customers.
Right. So first of all, what AWS brought to the space is truly amazing, right? It's not about technology anymore. What AWS did was took the technical elements out of it and let people focus on the business problems, right? Truly letting them innovate and become a different organization altogether. And when we started in the early 2009, 2010 time frame, like my partner said, there was no ecosystem, there was no structure. We were all mavericks fighting this battle alone. And it was tough. It was tough when you have to bring a transformation. It is not about technology, right? AWS gives you all the tools. Migrating from a data center to cloud is pretty simple. Anybody who has a reasonable IQ can do this. Still, how come organizations are not as fast as they should be, right? We started digging, and we realized it's a transformational engagement is a completely different ballgame. When the internet wave came through, there was a mind shift that needed. Now we are at the same time. It's an exciting time. People need to start thinking different. And this takes a whole community. It doesn't take companies, right? That's what AWS did. They brought the ecosystem together. They fueled partnerships. There is enough work for every one of us. Everyone on that floor is going to be rich very soon. No doubt there, right? That we don't have to fight. We don't have to be alone, right? We need to work together. We need to divide and conquer. That's the mindset that AWS was quickly able to bring to the partnership ecosystem through these competency programs. They gave us visibilities. They gave us the strengths and weaknesses. They gave us a platform to work together, work with each other. And more than that, the stamping, right? Customers also need to validate from the noise. There are thousands of people standing in every street saying the same story. How do customers differentiate amongst all of us? So the whole effective ecosystem made it very, very easy for us to work with each other and enable our customers to elevate to the next level easier.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to come at it from a slightly different angle. I think that my fellow panelists have done a great job kind of talking about how Amazon disrupted the market in the early days. I want to talk a little bit about how it disrupted DLT and a number of the companies that we work with. So traditionally, we had a 27-year history as a software provider to the government. And Amazon comes along, it's this whole cloud-based, billing based on utilization. All the contracting officers in the government lost their minds. They didn't know how to contract for this. So there's a number of things that we went through when I joined DLT back in 2011. I was actually hired as a chief cloud technologist. And I was asked to build a cloud advisory group for two primary reasons, and it turned into a third as well. The first one was to help educate the government on what cloud technology and cloud computing actually was. I got a lot of questions in the early days of, what is this cloud thing of which you speak? And we had to kind of explain, no, this is not just VMware in your data center. This is different. This is unique from what you're used to. So we spent a lot of time educating on what cloud was. We also spent a lot of time educating and influencing the corporate DLT's strategy and plan forward. I evaluated about 10 different cloud providers back then, and we chose Amazon as our primary infrastructure as a service provider. And so we created this partnership, and then ultimately, we spent a lot of time also educating internally and educating our other vendor clients, all the other vendors we had in our portfolio, because they didn't understand cloud either. So we spent a lot of time evangelizing cloud, how these software vendors, these ISVs needed to be cloud hostable or cloud supportable or even SaaSable, if you will. A lot of iterations, a lot of conversations, a lot of education took place there. The other things that really took place was the conversion from subscription, from license to MRR, monthly recurring revenue sorts of financial models. So managing cash flow was different, especially for a reseller type company. Consulting, you have different challenges, but from a resell, MRR conversion was definitely a challenge. The other thing you run into is how you compensate your salespeople on a cloud-based sales opportunity. Again, it's a different recurring revenue model. And the last thing is, and there's still a dartboard in the financial department with my face on it, when I went downstairs and said, yeah, we need to change our financial system to support 5 decimal places. They still don't like me for that one, because some of Amazon's pricing goes to 3. And once you start factoring in quantities and discounts, you need to be able to take it out a little bit further. So they still hate me for that. But those were some of the early things that we had to learn and really had to explore and evolve as we evolved our relationship with Amazon. So there's some early learnings for us.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. And this actually reflects how Amazon is building their partner programs. They're all specified to industry capabilities, solutions, workloads. So it's all aligned with that. And I'm happy to hear that the alignment of your business and the growth that you've been doing actually has been aligning with the growth that we've had at AWS since 2010 in the public sector. And it's all about innovate and to build new programs that is mapped to the customer needs. We usually don't do programs just for the fun of it. We do it because there is a need and there is a partner that's going to fulfill that need to the best of the end customer. So it's very, as you said, Robert, very customer obsessed in how we do with the programs as well. And we want them to be supportive to bring the value that the platform brings. If we move forward and speak about a little bit how we already touched it a little, but if you deep dive into it, how the actual programs, and you are both in the advanced and the premier status. As you know, we have 4 tiers in the APN. There is a lot of competencies of which we have both government and education as competencies in public sector and NPO to be released in August. How do you see the benefits that you have been gaining by these program progressions tied to your business and your end customers?
I'll start off with that one then. So the number of programs that we rely on very heavily, obviously the Amazon Partner Network has been core to the overall relationship and has been really the foundation since the beginning. And some of the programs that we rely on is definitely the Competency Program. I love the Competency Program. And the reason why is to be successful with Amazon, you can't do it part-time. The rate of change of their services, their capabilities, if you're not on top of it every single day, you're not in the game. So be a successful partner with Amazon, you have to be focused on Amazon and that ecosystem. Now the other thing is you need to have focus, you need to have your niche, you have the area that you're going to be the best at. If you say we do everything Amazon, what you're telling is you do nothing Amazon. You have to have things that you know, whether it's security or big data analytics or compliance, but pick your space. DevOps, it doesn't matter, but pick your space that you're going to own. And then we know how to partner with you as those opportunities come up. So the competencies are very key for us. We definitely pay close attention to that. We built a large ecosystem of partners that we work with closely based on those competencies. The new Partner Transformation Program has been wonderful so far. We just went through our audit. We got first so far. We got the highest score. So I'm not sure how many people have been audited. Maybe we're the only one that got audited. But we did go through the audit. And this is great because this really helps us better understand kind of where we are, baseline our capabilities, and compare that to best of breed that Amazon sees across the ecosystem. So it allows us to continuously improve how we are a partner to Amazon and how we are a partner to other folks in the ecosystem. And so those are some key areas that we're very focused on. Again, but again, I reiterate, definitely you got to spend the time. There's a lot of training out there, certifications out there. Spend the time and effort to understand that. Spend the time and effort to understand the programs. There's a lot out there. So without focus, though, it's easy to get lost amidst all the different things that are out there.
So great points, David. So again, like David said, it's about dividing and conquering, right? We should not be all doing the same thing because there's enough problems out there for us to solve. The competency is the one main thing it does is the market segment, right? Education competency. They're focused on partners who understand the domain. This is, again, not about technology. It's about understanding their business problems, their challenges. So focusing a set of partners in that particular segment helps the partners as well as customers to choose from a set of partners who truly understand their problems. This is not just about someone who knows the technology and walks in and says, what can I do for you, right? And the partners work very well together. We all bring different things to the table. So that's an awesome model for us to be successful and making sure the customers are successful at the end of the day. And besides all that, as a small business owner, we are a company which spends $0 on ads, but our revenue doubled. We were recognized for the fastest growth in the ecosystem, but we didn't have to do anything, right? We just had to follow the blueprint and take care of the customer, and the rest falls in place. So can't beat that.
I think this is an important distinction from really between how the the commercial side of AWS works and the public sector. People joke, if you have a credit card and can fill out a form and have a dream, you can be a partner of AWS. And on the commercial side, that's true. On the public sector side, it's a completely different landscape. You have to be able to really prove your worth that you can actually not just deliver and win a contract, but actually deliver cloud. And provide value to AWS and show that you're able to be successful in this landscape. And and AWS has gone through and has been burned by many customers who have won contracts and fumbled the ball. So they really where a lot of other technology partners in the federal space have massive partner networks. And if you're selling Dell hardware or Microsoft licenses, it really doesn't matter where you buy it from. But the AWS relationship is vastly different because it's so complex, because it really is the underpinning of everything that's going on within an IT deployment. It's really important that the partner that you have is someone who's going to provide that value and understand how to do it the right way and do it. So understanding both the technology and how to operate within the government space is extremely important to the AWS public sector team. So those qualifications you have, the GovCloud certified or government competency, or even just having a GSA schedule, the public sector team has been very made that a very short list of people who have those qualifications, and it's very stringent requirements to get those, and I think really the hardest thing is educating the customer base as to why that's important. That what's the difference between just a standard consulting partner, an advanced and a premier, and what the difference is and how that can really help to differentiate yourself in the market.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would probably just reiterate what these guys said, and that we don't have to spend money on advertising because AWS has created a bar that puts us at a level. Being a premier partner requires having a certain amount of revenue, a certain amount of contracts, number of certified people at the professional level, and then they have these competency programs, the government competency program, the security competency program, the DevOps competency, the big data, all of those things that when we go to compete in the public sector space, we're listing that right up front. We're saying that these are the bars where AWS has, in some cases, audited us to be managed services partners, where we go through a pretty rigorous set of control audits to make sure that we're actually delivering things that meet the security requirements for the federal government. And those are kind of critical. That's where you have to commit if you're going to be a partner. If you want to grow and scale with AWS, you have to commit to really understanding how to navigate these competencies, figure out the ones that you're really good at, and make sure that you can deliver value. For us as a partner, we're looking for companies that are doing some of those niche capabilities. But there's one thing that we actually make sure that all the partners that we work with kind of get, and that's you have to understand the digital transformation of moving to the cloud. You have to understand the reasons why your customers want to move to the cloud. And you have to understand the business outcomes that they're trying to achieve. Some of it's agility, some of it's for greater security, sometimes it's for lower cost. But you have to understand what those business outcomes are that they're trying to achieve, and you have to align yourself to be able to support those business outcomes.
Right, thank you. Yeah, and you to the point. We recently launched the public sector transformation program that DLT went through, and we had experience with that. It's a program that's designed to transform an IT vendor to become more cloud ready, and it's tied to, of course, the AWS services and features. It goes through a process of 4 steps where you analyze sales, services, marketing, and delivery functions within a partner organization. Then you build a plan and how you will be progressing and developing your services. So should you be interested into that program, just contact us at the partner booth in the area outside. And then you're to the point, but you speak a lot about the ecosystem, and that's really critical as well. Because we see partner to partnering as quite a big phenomenon within the public sector. Usually the contractual part is the key to get into public sector. If you look, for example, in the Nordics, where I've been based formerly, you were only entitled to have 6 partners per country. For example, in Sweden, it's only 6 partners of the thousands that there are that is entitled to do something in public sector. So the key here is to partner in the ecosystem. We have many examples for that, even from the commercial sector, like Enel, a big utility company in Italy, that's almost going all into AWS. They are using Accenture as the primary partner, but we have 25 others that works as a subcontractor. So the ecosystem is really something that we are developing and keen to nurture. Another thing that's really good to point out is the focus that you have had on going on a target and setting a timeline to fulfill that target. It's really easy to have a dream about becoming a partner or achieving a certain level, but you need to be really focused, have the resources and the timeline to do it. It's really not that complicated in a way. Even though Premier is a fantastic achievement because you need to have 48 different certifications, so that's great. Advanced a little bit lighter. If we are going to the thing that is really driving public sector, and it's of course innovation. As you know, 1,410 new services and features in last year. We just keep adding new services and features to the platform. How do you keep up the speed with the innovation that the platforms is delivering? What's the key to success?
It's certainly a challenge. I mean, there's almost 200 or 300 new features every year.
Don't sleep.
So
Please don't sleep.
it really is, it's that commitment that we were talking about. When you know that you're helping a customer, moving through that entire transformation process, getting to the outcomes that they want to get to, they're going to rely on you to be their trusted advisor. And you're the one that has to understand how these technologies can impact their business. So you have to set up your organization with almost vertical competencies to really understand. And you've got AI and machine learning capabilities now. You've got big data capabilities, security, DevOps capabilities, automation capabilities, security certainly being a big component of that. And the way that AWS has aligned its services, you have to have your architects really understanding and being at the ready to provide that subject matter expertise. It really is a commitment to get there. But there's tremendous value in being able to take these building blocks that AWS provides and rapidly build out a solution for your customer. That energizes the entire solution architect team at Smartronics to learn what these new technologies are and how they can apply to a business problem. So you're going to get guys in your organization that won't sleep, that are going to really look at these technologies and want to be the first to play with them and understand how they can help a customer go through that. So it's that spirit of innovation is going to be pervasive through your organization once you look at what AWS can do.
I think that's where the focus comes back in. Is your point is it's a huge platform. There's a lot of different features and functionality out there. And if you don't want to basically not sleep, then the only other option really is to focus. Pick your area where you're going to have that competency, have that area that you want to really be deep in, and learn the core platform. Make sure you understand the core services, but then really go down the rabbit hole in specific areas, whether it's security or DevOps or compliance or big data analytics. Definitely pick your major minor kind of program. Learn the core platform, and then learn those areas where you want to have a specialty in. That's really how we do it. That's how we look at it. That's kind of the approach that we take. That's the way most of the partners that we work with have taken as well. And then for those of us who need to be at least buzzword compliant across the whole platform, I just literally spend a designated amount of time every day digging into every service that comes out, every new service. So I just dedicate time every day just to keep abreast of what's happening. Doesn't mean I can actually make it work, but at least I know what it's supposed to do. So.
And again, the main thing, right, AWS makes sure they pave the way for you. If you're ready for innovation, they give you the tools. And it's like another thing where you follow what you preach, right? When we look at our problems, we again turn back to AWS and see what can AWS do to solve these problems. For example, we are a migration shop, and we have been migrating several large-scale enterprise customers, and we realized 80% of the challenges in every single place is the same, right? Then we said, hey, this is where ML comes in, artificial intelligence comes in. Let's feed all this data. Whatever is repeatable, let's automate and push that aside. Let's solve newer problems. It gives you the path to innovate yourself. And again, going back to the government space, right? If you look at the government, every agency needs to go through the procurement vehicle for every single project, right? They have to filter down from these 200, 300, sometimes even thousands of RFPs that comes their way. And AWS did a beautiful thing. They audited all of us, and they did that work once, and they said, these guys know government. Now, suddenly the government, all they have to say is, if you have government competency, respond to this. If not, don't. Right? So AWS definitely makes things much, much easier for anyone to make whatever is repeatable, automated, and optimized, and solve newer problems. That's what the space is all about, and that definitely excites us and keeps us a lot of room for growth while we handle these regular problems in a smoother way.
I think from my perspective, how we've approached it from JAT Technology is we've really looked at the resources that we have, how we built our company, and we think finding the right kind of people, folks who are technologists, passionate about technology, is something that's really key to, in this area. That if you have those type of people that they get up, it's not about their title, it's not about their how much money they're getting paid. they're just happy, they're passionate about doing this type of work. So finding those kind of people who really, really enjoy learning new things, trying out, solving problems is a key foundationary piece I think you need in this kind of a business. Second thing is from a leadership perspective to listen to those guys and see what are the game changers. There's so many things coming out, not only from AWS, but across the landscape of technology, understanding what's some sort of advertising, what's cloud, what's vapor. What is it that's a game changer that you really need to look at and figure out, is this something we need to build a business process or an offering based on this technology? And really understand and be able to differentiate between that and the market. And then the final thing for us is really listening to the customers. Understanding that your customers and their business problems, how you solve them with technology is ultimately where you drive that value. So if you're just going out there and solving problems to solve problems, it doesn't actually, solving problems that people actually don't have doesn't really do them any good. So looking for, taking those technologies, combining them to really solve something and improve how they do business. So I think when you start to be able to templatize that and do it as a repeated offering.
Thank you all. And to connect to your answers, the agility and the speed, that's a fundamental part of AWS. And there are many tools that you can be using as a partner to just ramp up your adoption of our services. You probably know about those, but I'll just mention a couple. We have quick starts, for example. Quick starts are a packaging of different things you can be doing within AI or ML or big data. It's packaged in a way that we have professional services, our consulting organization, together with end customers and our solution architects to be developing these quick starts, enabling you as a partner to just ramp up things in a very, very fast manner. That's really a good thing to look at if you haven't seen it. Of course, within the APN and your login, we have hundreds of free trainings when we are referring on how to keep up with innovation. Training is key. It could be expensive sometimes. There is hundreds of free resources within your APN login when you log into your area within the partner program. Of course, we have Marketplace as well. That's a little bit hidden. The Marketplace is like a third-party app store for AWS. We can evaluate very quickly a function. Let's say if you are evaluating business intelligence or machine learning or whatever, you just purchase the time that you're using for that service. So use Marketplace as a way to be more agile and to adopt and to inspire the end customer, because it's really the beauty with the platform. You can reiterate. If it doesn't work, you can move on. You only pay for what you're using. You're not tied to any contracts for 12 months. You don't have any hardware investments. That's the core of our platform. And another thing that's really effectful, that's CloudFormation templates. That's a more advanced kind of templates that is develop our professional services to help you ramp up and spin up new instances and services to showcase the end customer in a very speedy way. First of all, thank you very much. We will be opening up for questions from the audience. The last 5-10 minutes to learn about more how to grow and how to scale your partner business with AWS. Do we have any questions? All right. If not, we have one. Yep. Yep.
What has been your biggest challenges in terms of getting lit? Okay. What has been your biggest challenges in terms of working with like legacy systems and having some of those things integrated with AWS? I know from my government agency, things that we have been able to sort of move to AWS, primarily like some of our software products, but the main big like mainframe systems, there's like a box for it sort of set up, but there's a lot of challenges. A lot of folks talk about lift and shift and different approaches to sort of take that, but some of these systems like, coded in COBOL, created back in the 80s, still being utilized, interconnected with several different agencies. I mean, how does that all play into when you're looking at some of the innovations coming out of AWS and helping to grow and scale and accommodate those needs of folks trying to leave legacy systems?
I think my answer to that is every organization I've come across, whenever you have a legacy system, you always run into someone, there's always a reason why it can't be moved, it can't be upgraded, it can't be migrated. It says this tool can't go away. But the one thing that is constant in IT is change. So it's, the easy answer is that it's about finding the right way to get that application moved, to get that technology upgraded, because the only thing that you're doing is more of a disservice to your customer base by letting them hang on and attach themselves to these legacy technologies. The longer that kind of sits there, and the less modernized you can make that application. It's going to cost more to maintain. It's going to cost more to be less ability to have it modernized, be scalable, to be more interactive with other applications. So it's, in a lot of ways, it's a disservice, but I think you just have to, in some ways, drag that technology forward, kicking and screaming, into the modern,
Yeah, I would agree with Craig. The one thing that, though, we've seen, because we've done a lot of mass migrations of legacy technology, is that the lift and shift pattern is kind of an anti-pattern, right? There's always an opportunity to shape that workload, even these old ancient workloads when you move them into the cloud. You can either make use of a PaaS database service instead of the existing service that you have by just changing a connection string. You can split the web front ends across availability zones to get more availability. You can do a lot of things around how you manage your entire fleet. AWS gives you so many capabilities to do fleet-wide management, whether it's patch management or vulnerability management, or just simple things to automate the break fix of that environment, the rebuild of those environments when there is an error. So we always want to look at, even when you're looking at legacy tech, which God knows in the government we've got a lot of it, you really want to look at how you can shape that tech to be more cloud native and how you manage and operate it moving forward.
So it sounds to me like you've got a full-blown migration opportunity. Those are definitely the riskiest things. You don't start with that. So hopefully that's not your first project. I would not recommend starting there, because you want to become more familiar with the platform. You want to get your feet wet. You want to truly understand how to operate and maintain your Amazon environment. But if you want to go forward that, I don't know if you're familiar with the Modernizing Government Technology Act and the Technology Modernization Fund. It sounds like you have a perfect use case there. If you're looking to move away from a mainframe into a modern application, I definitely recommend putting an application in for the TMF dollars. And then definitely leveraging someone like JHC or a Smartronics or Inquisit to actually come in and assess that application to figure out what needs to be refactored. Is it COBOL? Is it mainframe COBOL? Is there any kind of API connectivity that may be able to wrap around that? Does it have to be moved, or can the new things actually be bridged into the Amazon environment until you slowly chip away at functionality until ultimately that platform's not doing anything anymore, it can be shut off. There's a number of different methods to go about doing that. There's no one answer, but definitely it's worth exploring. And if you're looking for funding, I would recommend the MGT Act and the Technology Modernization Fund.
Like David said, you're definitely right. You don't want to start with your most difficult project and then derail the energy levels.
It's a great learning opportunity,
right,
but I don't recommend it.
Right, but we have started several migrations, large-scale migrations, where people said these systems absolutely cannot move. And once you get the momentum going and once you open up the unbiased slate, then people start rethinking. And we have started saying we'll move 75% and 25% is going to relocate to a local data center close by. But at the end of the day, they all move in. And again, with technologies like Direct Connect and all that, they all can coexist. And if you, again, go that route as to migrate, start with your dev and test and see how it operates. And if it's good, then move your prod. If not, just kill it and leave it on your data center.
Hi. Could you gentlemen address the interaction with the public sector sales team and your own sales teams, what the level of interaction was? Were they providing, warm leads, qualified leads, or referrals, et cetera?
Yeah. So again, all of us were partners when there was probably only 3 people in the public sector Amazon team, I think. So we kind of have the luxury of kind of having the history there. I can say that there's a lot of folks at Amazon that I don't know now because it's grown so rapidly. So yes, so it's first of all, again, you need to be able to provide value. Amazon's providing their value, they're providing the platform. To Rob's note earlier, you can't beat Amazon's marketing. So you want to ride on its coattails. You want to be there in support. So we've always been really good, leveraging our competencies, leveraging the relationships that matter to those reps, whether it's education, government, managed services, whatever it might be. Work with your partner manager. Paul's been awesome for us. Help. They can help evangelize internally what your capabilities are, and they're your #1 cheerleader. So definitely leverage them. Work closely. It's a collaboration. So work closely with them, and then ultimately get to know those reps. And I'll tell you, nothing beats a relationship than a successful engagement.
Absolutely. Fully agree.
Good news travels extremely fast.
That's the key.
You do good work, and those other reps are going to hear about it. So,
and agencies are going to find you. You do the work, and Amazon does a very good job of displaying your case studies, your success stories. You don't even have to talk to the reps. Agencies will find the reps and find you. That's what is happening to us all the time. We have almost 0 digital presence. Our website is definitely not one of the greatest. I wouldn't be proud, but we are exploding. We are exploding, and agencies find us and come to us. So it's a hard bar to get in, but totally worth it.
Yeah, I think understanding what you do well, whether it's a relationship with an organization, like let's say, for example, you have a long relationship with the VA. Well, building a relationship with the sales folks who are over VA and making sure that they know who you are and know what your capabilities are is important. And understanding what your capabilities are as an organization is equally as important. So if you fail at something, we said good news travels fast, bad news travels as fast, if not faster. So
faster.
Don't try to be everything to everyone. Understand what your capabilities are, what you can actually deliver, and then build those relationships where you can actually deliver that value and grow from there.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's human nature for the sales folks to only want to deal with a limited number of partners that provide value for their target sectors that they're supporting. So find where you have the strength, where you have the relationship with, or contract vehicles, relationship with the customer, or some kind of capability around that. And the co-sell motion with the AWS sales reps is typically going in together and understanding the business problem together. And then you're going to do most of the heavy lifting on actually creating the statement of work or responding to an RFI. They're going to provide you some decent boilerplate stuff, but you're going to be responsible for doing that. And they don't want your sales folks to be relying on them to bring sales leads. You want to bring opportunities to them as well, and that also will get you engaged quickly with those sales reps.
And I think that can be really reinforced because the relationship that you have within the partner and the AWS sales team is really critical. Rather than just have one PDM speaking with an alliance manager or correspondent at the partner base, the key to success is to broaden the network and expand. Expand to sales account managers to account managers on each perspective side to share the account list, review the account list, see the outstanding tasks that can be done together. The same thing with the technical part of it, and the of course the relationship on the executive level. So thank you for sharing that.
And one other comment though, if you do build a relationship, find out from that salesperson who their target organization they really need to drive growth. If you want to build that relationship, if you're able to go into an organization and sell to somebody that's their target, they've had little success in selling to them, maybe building that relationship, finding a way in, finding a way to get them onto AWS is a way to go back to that salesperson and say, look, this is who you're trying to sell to. I did it for you.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Hi, can you talk about what's next for you and how you? Oh, thank you. Hi, can you talk about what's next for you, where you plan to innovate, and how you will use AWS to support you?
Sure, happy to. So a couple areas. We're going to continue investing in our support and managed services offerings is definitely a key area. The second area where we're investing a lot on, in fact, we just hired a new vice president of channels, Skip Leesgang just joined us, where we're actually looking to build out our partner ecosystem of Amazon consulting partners. So we have currently 20 we work with very closely today, companies like Slalom and Stelligent, Annika, Stack Armor. So working very closely with a number of Amazon partners today. And again, they're all bringing special capabilities, and we leverage these in these prime sub kind of relationships with the government. So definitely looking to build that ecosystem out. We're always looking for strong partners and strong capabilities to build out that ecosystem. And then ultimately, it's really around continuing to invest in our infrastructure. We've actually deepened our relationship with CloudCheckr around the billing components and some of the specialized capabilities we're offering our partners through specialized billing models and price listing and those sorts of capabilities. So we're going to continue to evolve all of those things.
Again, for us, this is the beginning. We are just getting the roadblocks aside. That's what we are doing. We are truly disrupting and transforming the market, and we see the potential. For example, we are focused on the education space, and that industry is getting disrupted. The way people are going to learn 10 years from now is entirely going to be different. So we are able to show proof of concepts and mind-boggling ideas in front of our customers with a very little investment, right? AWS gives you all the tools, so we are able to put all these concepts together and show some ideas, which starts the innovation going, and that's what we are really, really excited about. We are truly in the core of the transformation journey, and we're looking forward to be part of that disruption.
I think transformation is a good word. So for where we're at right now is we see especially in the federal space, so much of the groundwork has been laid and within organizations, and the cloud has gotten to the level of maturity where it's gone beyond, for most organizations, we're not doing proof of concepts, we're not doing pilots anymore. Let's start moving these massive production workloads that we have. And it's taken years, obviously, of education and work in some of these organizations to get them comfortable with that. And really, for us, has been helping them to build an organizational structure that they can actually maintain that type of technology, because the speed of innovation is not going to slow down. So helping them to build an organization that can lead the technological journey that they're going to take, be able to understand the next wave of technology to come in, evaluate it, and properly apply it within their environment, at the same time as they're going to be moving these production workloads, is really one of our main areas of focus, as we also are starting to get a bit more into the state and local side as well.
And I think for us, we saw a gap in the market a few years back, that there's a blur between managed services and managed security services. They don't have to be separate like they were. And when you look at managing at scale fleets of servers and data ecosystem, you actually have that opportunity to use some of these newer technologies to build upon the managed security services. You can use machine learning to get better security posture. You can use artificial intelligence and deep learning to get a better understanding of what's happening. You can look at the new capabilities that Lambda is providing in terms of enabling you to do event and attribute-based management. So you start to build this body of code that helps you do compliance and policy and security and management of the infrastructure that really allows you to scale. And we're taking advantage of that as much as possible.
Okay, thank you. Well, we are at the end of this session. We'd like to thank you all for your participation, and of course we will give the panelists a big round of applause for their efforts this morning. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your summit. Thank you.